Well, hey, Dream Team, welcome to another episode of The Five. We're into September, which means summer is gone, but fall is here.
Yay!
So it's always that mixed emotion. You're sad that summer's gone, but you are also excited about the fall, because fall comes with so many things that we love. And maybe our favorite thing is the fall small group semester. I just loved watching everybody get engaged and sign up for groups. We had a fantastic weekend. And man, the signups that are rolling in, it's so cool to watch those take place. But I want to remind everyone, we kick off on Labor Day, which means there's hundreds of people that consider Sun City Church their home, and they were gone camping or missed for whatever reason, and they are still looking for groups. And so I want to encourage you, be inviting people into your groups, be bringing friends with you to small group. That's what this season's all about. We've also been talking about how to avoid burnout recently in these episodes of The Five, and so we want to share a couple more principles with you as you move into the fall and things start to get busier after summer. And the principle that I want to share with you today is the principle of living with margin.
Yes,
margin is basically just the space that you leave in your life for the unexpected and the things that you weren't anticipating.
Right.
And margin is helpful in every area of your life. You need margin in your budget. You need margin with your emotions. You need margin in your calendar. And most Americans, we tend to ignore the principle of margin altogether. There's always this challenge of you think you can do more. You think you can have more. You think that you can fit it all in and cram it all in. And the truth is that if you do that, then things that are not anticipated, things that you didn't think through ahead of time, they come and they cause major disruption.
Yeah.
I read a study recently about how if something is running at 80% of its capacity, then it does pretty good moving along. And if there's some disruptions, it does fine. But if you move that up to 90%, if a system tries to function at 90% of its total capacity, then even small disruptions cause major slowdowns and problems in the efficiency of that thing. So think about a freeway, right? If you got 80% of the cars that can fit on the freeway, then small disruptions, they can kind of be overcome. But you get too many cars packed onto the freeway trying to move through, even small disruptions, like a bird flies across the street or whatever, all of a sudden there's traffic jams that no one can explain.
Yeah.
And it all has to do with a lack of margin. Here's my challenge to you. If you want to avoid burnout, make more space in your life. Make sure that you realize every time you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads us to what Jamie wants to talk about.
You know, I've just been thinking about this recently as I've been studying the book of Ruth and how Ruth found herself in this place where she's out picking up grain in the fields and she's walking along behind everybody who's working and she's just picking up what's left over. But really that willingness on her part to say, hey, you know what, whatever needs to be done, I'm willing to do it, even though it's kind of a low level thing. That yes really put her in line to meet Boaz and then for her to become part of the lineage of Jesus. And so while we need margin in our life, we also just need to be tuned into the voice of God to know what is the thing that we need to be saying yes to. And it might not always be obvious. You know, I think that at least for me, there's things that I think like, oh no, I would really love to do this, or I get really excited about it. And it's easy for me to overcommit. And all of a sudden I have all this stuff going on in my life. And sometimes I miss those things that just seem a little bit more humble when they come across the table. You know, it wouldn't be the thing that I would necessarily jump at or get really excited about it, but that's the yes that God wants me to say. And if I find myself out in the field, even if what I'm doing is I'm picking up grain after everyone else who's working, but it's where God asked me to be, then I'm in line for God to really move powerfully inside of my life. And who knows what kind of impact that could have. I mean, Ruth had no idea that saying yes to going out into the field would impact her entire lineage. It would be written down and recorded, and throughout history, it would be remembered as this yes to God that really was so influential in changing the history of the entire world. So I would just encourage you, pay attention. What is God speaking to you inside of this season? And make sure you're saying yes to those things.
That's so good. I loved the thought that Pastor Kyle shared with us on Sunday that he can't afford to do life without small group.
Yeah.
Even in the midst of all the yeses and nos that need to be said, he said, I gotta say yes to this because it's God's priority.
Good.
So I would encourage you, say those kind of yeses, make margin in your life in other areas, and make sure you say your big yeses to God's priorities.
Amen.
Hey, Dream Team, we love you. God bless you. Thanks for watching this video.